Hi everyone. So in this video what we're going to talk about is what happens if you install a new version of Unity and it breaks the scripting system. So for example, in this Unity project I have this script called Play Stinger, and when I double click on it, it says could not launch Visual Studio. This sometimes happens when you do a brand new install of Unity, which overwrites an older version. So this will explain how to fix it. So download this Mono framework, and it will take you to a page where you download this Mono framework. Now, after we've downloaded it, what we're going to do is we're going to install it, and then that will allow us to then open Visual Studio to modify our scripts. So I've downloaded it. I'll go ahead and show it in the Finder here and double click here for the Mono framework. And then it will ask me if I really want to install it. I'll say yes. Mono framework is a framework that Unity uses. It's kind of like almost like a plugin that allows Unity to have a bunch of extra features. And so Visual Studio needs that to connect to Unity, as Visual Studio is the kind of scripting engine that Unity uses. So you may have to allow your computer to install this, and it will bring up a dialog box saying, do you want, it's basically a security dialog box making sure that you definitely want to do this. It will write those files, and then we'll go back to Unity and try and open that same script file again and see whether it works. All right, it's finishing up. We hit close. We can now move that Mono framework to the trash. And if I go back to Unity and double click on it, what it will do is you can kind of see it in my dock here. It's opening Visual Studio. Now if I'm opening Visual Studio after an update for the first time, it takes a little while for it to actually load and show my project. So sometimes, and it may also need to do some further updates once I'm in Visual Studio. So we'll wait for the spinning rainbow ball here while it opens Visual Studio. And it kind of set it up so that we have kind of an opening launch page about what we want to do, and then eventually it will say, oh, you actually opened up a script here, let me load that for you, and it will load the script into this file. So it's basically just waiting while the loading dialog spins, and eventually it will bring up our script so we can edit it. There's also a way to update Visual Studio, and I'll show that in just a minute. Here's a way to update it. It actually said, oh wait, now we don't quite have the latest version of Mono framework, and we can update to a new version of Visual Studio, which you can do. And I would advise that. Go ahead and restart and install those updates. So it kind of did all that in the background and then finally brought up my script. I'm going to go ahead and restart and install those updates. That just brings everything up to date. And unless I'm actually updating Unity again, then it will be fine. This is a bug when you update Unity. It kind of breaks the Visual Studio by downloading an older Mono framework, and then you have to kind of reinstall that. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I'll wait for this to install. Unfortunately, this takes quite a long time. I sort of paused my record. I'm still waiting for the application to install and the updates to happen. So if it takes a couple minutes, just let it work through all its install mechanism, and it will eventually finish. Unfortunately, though, it does take a couple minutes for this to actually install. Wow, this has taken a really long time. It took like 10 minutes. So looks like we're almost done here. and then we'll be able to sort of look at our scripts again and fix that error that we were seeing initially about it not having MonoDevelop installed for Visual Studio. It's finally done, and it will probably open up Visual Studio again for us. Yep, there we go. Now it's fast. So if we go ahead and click on our original C# script now, it's going to load hopefully a lot quicker. And it looks like it's almost there, and there it is. Okay, so that's how you fix that bug if you're reinstalling over an original version of Unity. Sometimes it loses the MonoDevelop and you have to reinstall it and update it in order for it to get it to work again. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.